Hi, I'm Emma Borchin from CertiVox. Today I'd like to show you how easy it is to install our MPIN Strong two-factor authentication server. First, just browse to our CertiVox.com website and click on the MPIN download link. Here you'll need to enter your first name, your last name and your email address. Once these fields are complete, simply click on Download MPIN Now and you'll be taken to the download page. On the download page, you can choose either the 32-bit or 64-bit version of the server corresponding to your environment. To save time, I've already downloaded it. You can also see which Linux distributions we currently support. This list will increase over time as we support more. You can also see what the recommended minimum specifications for the server are. I'm just going to move this window to keep the MD5 hash of the installer visible so I can check that the file I've downloaded is the correct one and hasn't been tampered with. By opening up a terminal window, I can navigate into the Downloads folder, then run the MD5 sum command against the downloaded file and check that the hash matches that on our site, which it does. Next thing I'm going to do is to make the installer executable. Then I can run the installer, which needs to be done as root using the sudo command. The wizard will guide you through the installer. Note here that the MPIN server is written in Perl, uses the Modalicious framework which has the Hypnotoad web server built in that hosts the demo site as well as the MPIN authentication server. Just press enter to continue and then enter your email address and organisation name. You don't need to enter valid details here, but it's going to help if you want to upgrade, get support or manage your server in the future. Once you've done that, enter Y to continue, it needs to be capital Y, and the installer will fetch all of its required keys from the CertiVox managed service. Once the installation is complete, the wizard tells you what you need to do to run the service and the built-in demo site. Before running the server and the demo sites, I'm just going to show you the configuration files for each. The server itself is installed to /opt/mpin/authserver, and its configuration file is called mpin.conf. This file contains the server's secrets that I've blurred out for security reasons. You'll need to copy these over to your relying party. More on that later. Also notice the listen line, which tells Hypnotoad which port the MPIN authentication server is listening on. I'm now going to start the authentication server, which must be done as root. Now let's look at the demo site's configuration file, which is called demo.conf and is located in /opt/mpin/demo. Notice the additional MPIN authentication server line, which tells the demo site where the MPIN authentication server is. The secrets have automatically been copied over into this file, and again, the listen line tells Hypnotoad which port the demo site is running on. I'll now start the demo site, then I can point a browser to localhost port 8080. Once the demo site comes up, I can click on to get started, and at that point I'll be asked to enter an identity, which can be any string. Note that the demo does nothing to verify this identity, which is something you'll need to do. We have a best practices guide that discusses this, but the easiest way to understand it is that if you use email addresses as your identities, you can then use that to verify the user by sending back a link to that email address, which would then take them to the next page where the user is asked to set up their PIN. Notice that on this page I've now received my MPIN client secret from the CertiVox managed service, and I'm now asked to create my PIN. What we can now see on the following page is the same secret, which has been cryptographically split into my PIN, factor 1 of the two-factor mechanism, and the MPIN user token, which is stored securely in my browser's local storage. This is the second factor. I'm now registered and can authenticate by clicking the login button. On this page I simply enter my 4-digit PIN, which is recombined with my token to recreate the secret. The MPIN key agreement protocol then runs to prove to the MPIN server that I am who I claim to be. A second token, the MPIN authentication token, is created containing my identity and the result of my authentication attempt. This token is encrypted and signed using the server's secrets and passed to the relying party, the site that you actually want to log into, in this case the demo site, which can then use the same keys to decrypt the message, verify its signature, and choose what to do with the user. In this case, just log me in as I've entered the correct PIN. Let's go to the download page so I can show you where you can find out more information. Click Read the Docs to go to MPIN's documentation homepage. If you drill down into Project Wiki documentation and then MPIN server setup, you'll find the Quick Install Guide, which basically covers what I've just shown you. The Configuration Guides document shows how to make the demo site accessible from outside the server and how to configure your server to use SSL certificates. The Best Practices Guide includes information on how to verify your identities, as well as an explanation of why you should use SSL on your server. The mpin.js configuration document shows you how to integrate the mpin pinpad into the front end of your website to replace the username and password fields. And finally, there's links to the rely on party code and samples. This is the code that you'll need to integrate into the back end of your website that decrypts and verifies the MPIN authentication token. Currently we have rely on party code in Perl, PHP and Java, but keep an eye out on this page as we add more languages. Finally, if you navigate back to the CertiVox documentation welcome page and click on Community, you'll find a page that lists all our mailing lists and IRC chat channels that you can use to get in touch with us. We look forward to hearing from you there.